these places. No, nigga, you was not there, man. You wasn't there, nigga. This is what happened, how Jomo got cool with us. Them freestyles that we just showed y'all, go Google them, have fun with them when you get time. We were popping. It wasn't no internet. Mace, myself, Big L, even though Mace and Big L on the same page, Bloodshed, my man Herb McGruff, we were super duper popping in the street prior to the internet.
The world came to a halt when Jim Jones filed those court documents. Nobody anticipated it progressing this far. The fans, no. The insiders, no. Not even the real Cameron. However, Jim was at his breaking point. The betrayal was too profound. The shame was excessively intense. And he wasn't going to overlook it this time. The public was shocked by official court documents. Overnight, hip-hop media took off, breaking, Jim Jones formally charges Cameron with a crime after his private video was leaked. All of a sudden, it was more than simply a feud. It was a full-fledged conflict with legal repercussions. News sources worldwide carried the story within hours. You sensed the seismic change. For the blogosphere, this was no longer just drama. This actually happened. It was also toothy. However, something even more startling came to light as everyone prepared for what would happen next. The lady who had fought, wept, and bled with Jim for years, Chrissy Lampkin, his longtime ride-or-die companion, did not support him. No posts were encouraging. No videos demanding justice. There are no scathing interviews denouncing Cameron. Instead, in front of everyone's eyes, a silent but devastating betrayal took place. Sometimes you realize the villain was standing right beside you all along, Chrissy wrote in a single Instagram photo. No tags. No names. But her meaning was clear to all. The streets began to speak. The murmurs turned into roars. Was Chrissy pointing the finger at Jim? Was Chrissy on Cameron's side? Jim must have had an unfathomable sense of betrayal at that precise time. New allegations began to circulate as fans argued, unearthing every old clip and every nuanced smile between Chrissy and Cameron, that their relationship had never been merely amicable. Old videos came back to life. Chrissy's laughter at Cameron's jokes was a bit too intense. At industry parties, Cameron spends too much time staring at Chrissy. Nobody gave it any thought at the moment. Now, though, every second felt like a hint that had slipped everyone's minds. Jim, caught off guard, pulled away from the spotlight. His close friends spoke of a man who was irreparably damaged. Jim is more than just hurt, a source informed the media. He's ruined. It was enough to betray Cameron. Chrissy, though? That level of suffering is distinct. Jim remained quiet for days. No interviews. No social media. No shows. Nothing but quiet. In the hopes that he would address the storm, fans waited. Rather, they received sadness in the form of one tweet: real ones never die. Fake ones that pose as authentic are lost. The entire planet sensed it. Uncooked. Unfiltered. Bleeding through the screen, pain. Sometimes silence screams the loudest, wrote Cameron, who never misses an occasion to add gasoline to the fire, beside a happy photo. After that, the bombshell was dropped. Pictures surfaced. At a late-night meal, Chrissy and Cameron were caught together, tucked away in a quiet area of a fancy restaurant. They had on sunglasses. Looked down. Attempting to blend in. However, they were captured on camera. And it was over after the pictures were leaked. The internet went down. There was proof of the betrayal. It was no longer merely conjecture. It was authentic. Jim Jones was completely alone. His closest loved ones had openly and brazenly abandoned him. And now he was on his own, fighting a court struggle. Legal experts soon provided their opinions. Jim's case was solid, according to some, who warned that releasing a private video without permission might result in harsh penalties, fines, and possibly even jail time. However, some cautioned, Cameron is wealthy. He has attorneys. Additionally, he now has the allegiance of someone Jim believed he could always rely on. It was not going to be fair in the courtroom. It would not be kind. The industry, meanwhile, began to take sides. Loyalty ain't dead, some artists wrote in a subtly supportive post for Jim. Some folks just never had it in the first place. Real ones ride till the wheels fall off. Others, however, displayed silent loyalty by reposting Cameron's cryptic messages. It was easy to see the fracture lines. Hip-hop wasn't merely observing. It was gushing blood. Things became even more sinister behind the scenes. Rumor had it that Cameron wasn't finished. He had more footage, he said. More secrets still. If Jim pushed too hard, he was ready to let go even more dirt. There was a risky chess game going on. Cameron was battling for more than just his legal rights. He was getting ready to destroy Jim's reputation if it came to it. Chrissy, too? Chrissy, wasn't merely remaining quiet. She was deliberately stoking the fires. There was another Instagram story: growth means cutting off those who keep you in pain. No names again. No tags. However, no one required confirmation at this point. Jim already had the knife in his back. Chrissy was twisting it now. Fans looked on in helplessness. The street monarch who had embodied a generation of Harlem swagger and who had once been the beating heart of the Dipset movement was now struggling to breathe because he had been deceived, exposed, and humiliated. Jim made an effort to rally. He made an effort to appear strong. During his infrequent appearance at a charity function, reporters saw a different side of the man they knew. The bluster had vanished. The arrogant smile had vanished. Quiet anguish was all that was left. "Sometimes you think you know your people," Jim replied when questioned about the incident. "Occasionally, you come to the realization that you never truly did." It was an unforgettable moment. Tragic. Being humble. Uncooked. The actual storm, however, was still building. A counter-lawsuit was allegedly being prepared by Cameron's team, which accused Jim of defamation, harassment, and emotional distress. It was a vicious counterattack. It was no longer a straightforward matter. It was a full-scale conflict. Once referred to be brothers, these two guys are now adversaries who are prepared to destroy each other in court. And trapped in the middle of the debris, between them, stood Chrissy Lampkin, unapologetic, smiling, and silent. Fans pleaded with her to clarify. She was labeled a traitor by others. A wrecker of homes. A traitor. Chrissy, though, didn't bat an eye. "Loyalty to the wrong person is self-betrayal," she said in her last post of the week. "No regrets. I'm not sorry. No going back." Thus, the scene is prepared. Camron versus Jim Jones. Brotherhood fell apart. Belief ruined. Love turned into hate. Dates for court are approaching. Beneath the surface, secrets simmer. Jim's remaining life is in danger of being torn apart by further leaks. Fans hold their breath during it all, anticipating the next turn of events, the next betrayal, the subsequent heartache. For if you believe you've seen everything, nothing has been visible to you yet. The actual conflict has just started. Keep an eye out. Because this is not the end of the narrative.